Alright, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for jefferyarmy. They play Moira this entire game on Oasis, and I believe this is somewhere in Plat. You say here it used to be Diamond, and you're unsure as to what you're doing wrong or what's causing you to drop. Um, Fortunately, I have a few answers for you. um, right, so one, I ask if you're a Moira one trick only. Obviously, I guess that's kind of a single question I don't expect an answer. But right, it looks like you're not too familiar with Moira, which is why I ask. It looks like you're too used, and I say that because it looks like you're way too used to healing only, right? Um, Moira gets very low value from only healing because she doesn't have like these cooldowns to if like you don't do damage as Moira, right? You're just kind of throwing because she doesn't have these impactful cooldowns at the very least, right? Even if I just like heal bot as Baptiste, right, and literally don't shoot, which is also like a complete troll, right? I'm still getting value based off my cooldowns like regenerative burst and lamp. Or if I just heal bot as Kiriko, right, I'm still getting value off of Suzu. Like these are really big cooldowns, and Moira doesn't really have these, right? Her cooldowns are like overwhelmingly selfish, and you're not like using that to your advantage, right? As Moira, you really want to be more aggressive than you are right now. Actually, I'll say I've watched pretty much the entire gameplay, and my top 3 tips you, before I get any more specific, is that one, your positioning is consistently too far away from the enemy team, right? And you're just losing so much damage pressure because of this, right? This is kind of like a 2-for-1 special, right? But they're really interrelated, right? So I'm just going to consider them the same thing. You're just not attacking the enemy team enough, and you're not putting yourself in positions to attack the enemy team enough, right? You literally need to do damage as Moira to get your heal juice up, right? And like since your like cooldowns aren't super impactful for your team, you need to like distract the enemy team and force angles consistently, which doesn't necessarily mean a flank, right? It can literally just be like to the side of your tank or whatever, right? To like put in extra damage so the enemy team literally just can't just run into you because you're just heal botting, right? When you heal, it's like just kind of delays your loss, right? Delays your team from just getting blown up. But when you do damage, you're actively forcing people away from you or they die, right? Like that's kind of the difference. If you have the choice between doing damage and healing, you should be doing damage because that actually impacts the fight positively and allows you to take space and hold angles, right? Um, Healing only is allowing you to like hold angles for a certain amount of time, right? Because all the damage in the game just is going to be more than all the healing, right? You have 2 people that can heal, you have 5 people that can do damage, right? It's pretty self-explanatory when you put it like that, right? Um, 2, your cooldown usage is like not particularly good. You use your heal orb way too often, right? When you should be using damage orb way more often, right? You use your heal orb and it heals your team for like 50 to 100 HP, right? And just flies off in the middle of nowhere. But if you consistently use your damage orb and like bounce off like these corners, right, where it like deflects off the surface and like bounces around in their team, it's going to get way more value, right? Because you force the enemy team to stop doing damage and heal their team, or else you can just like pick them off, right? And in general, you want to be bouncing your orbs way more, right? When you use more orbs, they bounce off of pretty much every surface in the game. So, right, if you need to heal your team, you should be using your orb like in these enclosed areas, right? You can even aim at the floor, for example. Let me show you for like what I mean, for example, because I didn't see you do it a single time. Not to say you don't know how to do it, right? But for example, if I'm in this doorway and I want to heal my team or heal myself, I can quickly look down, throw a heal orb, right? And it's just going to keep bouncing in here and it's not going to fly away and give you the full heal benefit, right? Might be trickier on console. I think you said you're a console player, so, but something to keep in mind, right? And you use your fade consistently when you're not in danger of dying. I don't think it's too bad, right? But you should be greeting your fade more because people say like, Moira is like has no utility for her team, and that's not really true. Her utility is that she's like really annoying to kill, and if you consistently use your fade to like bait out like bursts of damage or like cooldowns, right, you're getting a ton of value in Moira, right? Like just being a nuisance on the side of the map, right, or like with your team doesn't necessarily need to be on the side of the map. Being a nuisance that's like consistently distracting the enemy team, consistently forcing cooldowns and just not dying and just trading your fade for like everything they throw at you is really, really valuable, right? That's kind of the value that Moira brings. And thirdly, your ults need a lot of work. Really, with ult, you should always be throwing a damage orb before you ult, and ideally, you should be ulting your team, probably usually your tank, along with someone else on the enemy team when they cannot back away from cover easily, right? You're just using it when the enemy team is too close to cover far too often, and it gets pretty much no value except maybe like a bit of healing on your team. Anyways, we'll get into it here. So okay, yep, this is fine. This is kind of what I'm talking about right here, right? So you just throw the damage orb, right? You're not thinking about maximizing its value. You pretty much just throw it here. It's at a slight angle. I don't know exactly where it went. It's not that important, but you're just gonna like keep bouncing between here, right? Or if you throw it here, right, it maybe hits this corner and just like flies off into space over here. I'm not gonna keep looking for it. It's not that important. What you should be doing is shooting it off this wall so it bounces here and then like bounces here, right? And now it's just like consistently annoying their team and forcing them to reposition or eat a ton of damage, right? That's what I mean when you want to be looking for these like orbs like that to get more value on surfaces, right? Here, right, you don't necessarily know where they are. This is okay, but you should be a little closer, right? You're just sitting in the open here, right? You're just letting the soldier just chip you down for free. You shouldn't be doing this, right? He just like isn't shooting you for some reason or just missing a ton. You can literally just walk through here, right? Or even fade because you have the Mega here and just start shooting the Zarya in the back. So she just takes extra damage. And if you just kill the Zarya immediately, like your queen doesn't have to worry about taking all this damage from her, right? The Zarya probably has 0 bubbles based on her charge. Yeah, she's about to get another one. So yeah, if you just help the queen just do a bit more damage, the Zarya just instantly dies. Just a little bit faster. No, not that big of a deal. It seemed dangerous to fade there, but you already LOS'd her, so it's not like necessary to fade. But I understand. I don't think that's like too egregious there. Right. Okay, you have to cap. Unfortunately, your queen's still in the middle of their team. Once someone else on your team was on cap, I would have gone for it. If your team's peeking, feel free to peek. Yeah, that's a okay fade there. I would say you want to be in general careful about peeking the same angle as your team, because these people aren't actually shooting you. They're shooting your soldier and Zen. They're peeking the angle, and you just happen to step in at the wrong time and get like almost killed. Little unfortunate, but just try not to peek at the exact same angle as your team, right? And they'll like severely limit the amount of times it happens. I can see you don't want to peek this angle, right? And I kind of agree with you. Here you just kind of have to let them walk, honestly. It's not a good angle for you. Here, no real reason to fade, right? You kept backing up. It's okay, right? She's not backing up the right way. It's not the end of the world. I think healing orb is okay here. Right, she's really low. Okay, yep, this is good, right? No reason to heal orb here. The previous one was good. This one, not so much. She's already fairly healthy and using her shout. And this, again, she just died, and Zarya just used a bubble, right? So if you just keep if you chuck the damage orb, for example, it might be like hard on console, right? If you chuck it like right here, for example, bounce here, right? Or, depending on the exact angle, bounce here and like bounce into her team and do a ton of damage, right? But your queen wasn't in danger of dying, which is why you can throw a damage orb, because she was right here and only getting shot by the Zarya, right? If you heal her, she's not going to die, right? As long as she keeps herself heal up. She's like not actually in danger of dying there. Regardless, good kill, right? Here, if you have your fade, you can look to get aggressive, right? Again, waste of a heal orb there. If you threw a damage orb, you'd be helping your queen get the kills that much sooner, right? If your tank's in, you can feel free to go in, right? Try not to walk in straight lines and get taunted though. Shouldn't have needed to fade there if it was a bit better. Okay, so when you have your ult, you should be looking to use it pretty much like as soon as you get it. If you really wanted to, you saw the tank and the Moira are going this way, right? Because obviously you can see the damage orb, right? And if you just peek a little bit, or you can hear the Zarya even, you should know that these two people are alone, and you could potentially ult them and just like insta-kill them, right? Use the BAP, also use this lamp fairly. I guess you just respawned actually. But you force out all their cooldowns and like force the Moira and Zarya to take a 2v4 on point while you just hold off the rest of their team. Backing up's not like the biggest problem in the world, but letting them peek it for free kind of gets your Zen killed. His positioning wasn't good, you know, nothing you can really do about that. But this is obviously like not a good ult, right? If the Zarya wants to, she can just peek right side and just not take damage from your ult anymore, right? And you should have been looking at these people on right side, right? Because you saw them right side earlier. And excuse me for 1 second. If you chuck damage orb at them, right, when they peeked you close and just ulted them, they both would have like instantly died, right? I will mention, right, you should know the Hanzo was there too. Okay, this is fine, right? Queen ults just walk in. Yep. All the eyes are on her, so that's fine. I'm not saying much here, because really nothing to say. Actually, this round's over, so I'm just going to skip to the next round. Nothing actually happens. Here, right, I will say, no reason not to fade out of spawn. You did it the other 2 maps. I don't know why I didn't do it this map. Not that well, but it's an okay damage orb, right? I feel like the only damage orbs you really throw are at the beginning of the games when you should be consistently throwing them more often, right? And this kind of like prevents your team from taking extra damage, right? Because it forces the supports to heal their team. Unfortunately, I don't know how your Zen gets killed there. This is okay. I think going with your team's okay, but you should be looking to try to capitalize on the fact that this Reaper just uses Wraith, right? And continue to push, right? You just killed their tank. There's no reason to be this scared right now, right? Just keep pushing with your Queen, and you should be looking to see if you can catch this Reaper off guard, right? You saw that he faded in here, so there's a chance he's in here, right? And if you just chuck a damage orb in here and just like jiggle peek, you know, or like use your movement, he's probably you'll be able to like potentially kill him. I hope your team's kill him, right? Okay, I get the fade, the fade, just so you get the self-heal back sooner, right? Yeah, no real reason to heal orb there. You could just chuck a damage. I mean, I guess their entire team died, but like she's not in danger, right? That's kind of a consistent theme. You're just kind of continuously heal orbing your tank when she's not in any danger. Here, right? You have damage orb, just chuck a damage orb, right? Just literally bounce it off the walls or something. Or you can even literally just send it down like right here, and force them to move. Ideally, you could like bounce it off like this thing, for example, or something. Yeah, obviously this is a really open area, so it's not great. But by the time they're actually pushing the choke, you'll have your orb back, right? So even if you like quote unquote waste it, it's not that much. If your tank places choke, it's unfortunate. There's really not a whole lot you can do. But you could also be peeking, for example, just like over here, right? Just slowing them down by like playing here, and when they start to push you, just fade away and fade around here and start healing your team, right? If you distract their team, your Queen's not going to be eating all this damage, right? Because they're going to try to shoot you away instead of your Queen, right? At least someone will try to do that, and she's not going to get damage jumped, right? That's the power of creating angles, right? Hopefully, okay, yeah, she just walks into it. Nothing you can really do to save her there. Yeah, try not to walk in straight lines, right? I think it's an okay fade, just soldier YP. Here, you should be throwing a damage orb in that little room, right? Potentially kill the soldier there. Here, it's fine, just keep backing. Yeah, not really good ult here, right? It's a 2v5, right? Your Queen literally just respawned. There's no way you kill their entire team, right? Or kill anyone, probably. Total waste. If you waited for now, like to use it now, right? Again, look at their DPS. They're totally overextended. If you just damage orb and ult their DPS, both of them die, right? I guess their Ana died last fight. I wasn't paying attention. I guess your May killed her or something. So that's even better for you, because they have pretty much no heals right now. And if you just damage orb, ult these people when they're overextended, you just instantly win the fight, right? Because now you just take it from a 4v3 to a 2v3 or 3v2 in your favor, right? And they have no damage because both DPS are dead. Again, too far away here, right? If you can't shoot anyone, you should be looking to get an angle closer, right? You have your fades, there's no reason to be this scared, right? They don't even have like a tracer to chase you down. Yeah, no real reason to fade that early. Not that much world. But when you consistently do it, it becomes a problem because like you just force out, you just can't be aggressive after you fade, right? Here, you could have been a little further away from your team, not that long though. If you lose to ults, it's not that big of a deal. It was good stall regardless, right? You had multiple opportunities to kind of turn that fight, right? Especially with your ult if you didn't waste it. Yeah, you can just chuck a damage orb in there, right? It doesn't give Zarya any charge. I mean, it gives you like a few %, but might as well build your ult, right? Since you're not doing anything anyways. Right, just chuck. Yep, this is good. Right, I mean, you could bounce off the walls to be a bit better, right? When I say that, right? If you come over here and bounce it off, for example, this wall, right? It could bounce over here, for example, or you could even bounce it off here. It could like bounce up here. You know, do something like this. Just stay in this area longer, right? When you just send it straight down, obviously it just goes in, bounces, and just comes back. It's not the end of the road. It's awkward to get a good angle there, so I don't think so. Okay, unfortunately, your queen just flies and dies. I would say one thing you can do right now, since they're down their Zarya ult, and that's like the only thing that's really going to kill you, and they's trapped, right? I guess like if they sleep you, they can kill you. You can come over here, right? And just pester them and just fade away, and like fade over here, and you'll be pretty safe, right? You know, a little risky. Probably should wait for your tank, but it's something to do. You know, this is Plat, so you probably get away with it and just fade out on cooldowns. Potentially get some of the understands, right? Or alternatively, you can go even further to the left. Unfortunate. She really needs to dodge these traps better. I understand the heal orb there. She's ult again. Okay, again. They use 2 ults. It's not the end of the world, right? As Moira, in these situations, you really can't do much unless you have your ult, because you don't have like any big cooldowns to like stop them from getting value. You just have to, when they have a lot of ults, if you want like the good answer, it's what you want to do as you like get in higher elo, right? If you know they have a lot of ults, what you should be doing is trying to like flank to get them to waste their ults and just let your like frontline get run over, right? If they just like commit all their ults, your queen, right, you're gonna lose the fight 100% of the time. So you might as well use the distraction of her like eating everything to try to do something in the back line, turn the fight. Right, it's not necessary, right? If they just dump like 2+ ults in the fight, it's okay to lose. Again, right, he's already behind cover, no reason to ult him. Hopefully no one walks in that trap. Should chuck the damage orb right before this, right? Again, like they just kite that really easily. They're too close to cover. I think this round's over here. Just gonna go to the next round.
3, 2, 1. Round 3. Capture the objective.
Last chance to kick their teeth in.
Here, right, just chuck damage orb. Just keep bouncing on point, for example. Make it hard for them to walk forward. Or alternatively, you can just bounce it down the right side, right? As long as you're throwing one, right? It's more valuable than just waiting for your team to peek and just chucking it. This is good, right? You see, like, literally, you're not doing anything special. The only thing you're doing is peeking with your tank and peeking at the angle where your tank is not, right? Let me show you how powerful just off-angling is just from the Zen's perspective, right? Because you're forcing him to choose an angle to commit on, and he just can't commit on 2 angles at the same time. I mean, it sounds really obvious when you put it like that, right? But it's literally that simple, right? So he can't do everything at once. I mean, he just doesn't hit anything at all there, and he gets knifed in, which is good by your queen. But like, you see like how valuable that is. If someone else at some point, I'd go forward and do something. It's not the end of the world, right? Another wasted heal orb, right? If you can just heal them with your juice and just chuck a heal orb at the team, right? It's more value, especially now that heal orb regenerates your spray, whatever it is. There's no reason not to. Kind of overpeaked that angle. I think it's okay to fade there because he still had his Helix rocket. You're right. Opportunity again to chuck a damage orb, right? Again, especially when they have an Ana, right? If they just anti your queen, like you can't do anything to help her anyways, right? The only way you help her is if you force a separate angle. For example, if you're already set up over here and just pestering them as they walk in, maybe they like or nade you and you just like fade it off and they get like no value pretty much, right? And by taking damage away from, taking distraction away from your queen, right? You don't let her take that much damage in the first place, right? Again, right, imagine if you had damage orb here, you just damage orbed earlier, right? You'd punish him for walking in, for not letting him walk in the first place. See, when you just kind of sit back and heal, they're just going to out-damage you, so you just kind of have, that's why it's so important to distract this one. You're right, if your movement was a little better, maybe you live there. It's not the end of the world, right? You didn't really stagger too badly, so.
The name's Cassidy. Resurrection.
Yeah, no real reason to heal orb there. Just heal them or wait for them to regen. I think his Zen was weak. He literally starts healing after like 2 seconds. And that's important because you could have already chucked 2 damage orbs at their team again, right? I'm sure you can see like how useless a lot of these heal orbs are. They're quite literally like just healing people that you're right next to. You just chuck a heal orb at that. Chuck a damage orb at this soldier, right? He just uses Helix so he can't burst you down. And then just fade away instantly afterwards, so he just doesn't like headshot you 4 times in a row. And you just force him off this angle, right? Or force him to use cooldowns, stay there, right? And then that gives your soldier an unfair advantage because you can still heal your soldier, right? And it's taking the enemy soldier is taking extra damage from your damage orb. Right? Yeah, no real reason to heal orb into Zen ult, right? Probably getting sick of hearing it, but like you're just heal orbing way too much, right? It's just letting the enemy team run forward because you literally just can't heal enough. It's fine. I will say losing ults to like 3 or losing a team fight to 3 ults, it's alright. You just use Zen ult, so not the end of the world. But you did have opportunities to swing that fight, multiple times, right? When you went in with Transcendence, right, you could have made an angle right side, right, because your team's literally unkillable. Because their Ana wasted her nade. Kill the soldier, start flanking them or something, and did everyone off your Rhine, right? Everyone's just like damage jumping your Rhine. You just literally can't do nothing. Healing, just like save it. Should damage orb there, right? No reason not to. That's fine. Still force them off the angle, right? I prefer you do that. Again, like not really good ult. Like I said, you want a damage orb before every ult, and you just can't see anyone except your tank, right? I mean, I think it does more healing than you're just healing, but like, you want to be getting like damage pressure or like actual. And he still has like a lot of his shield. No reason to, right? Use damage orb there. Maybe you stop him from walking forward. There, your entire team's dead. Really nothing you could have done, so. Okay, that's probably the end of the game. So, right, to recap, I think your positioning / aggressiveness needs some work, right? You're not dealing enough damage, and you're not distracting the enemy team enough, and it's letting them just run into your team, like a lot, right? Like I said, you mathematically cannot out-heal everyone's damage on your team, and if you're not distracting the enemy team, or at least doing damage, right? Like, you're just letting them just shoot your tank for free, right? And they're just going to out-damage your healing, right? Which is why you just cannot do it. Secondly, right, you need to work on your cooldowns. You're fading just too early in general, right? If you watch good Moiras, they're probably almost extinct at this point. But, yeah, they save fade for like important cooldowns or important bursts of damage, right? and try to get as much value out of it as possible, just to make themselves as difficult to kill as possible, right? And they're also chucking damage orbs way more because it's more impactful than the extra bit of healing, right? Yeah, just forcing people off angles, force them to heal each other, right? Killing people that much sooner is just very valuable with the damage orbs, right? And get more used to like bouncing them off corners to your advantage. So they're just in the middle of the enemy team or in the middle of the enemy player more often. And thirdly, I think your ults need a lot of work, right? I don't think you had any good ults this game. You want to be using it ideally when you can line up your tank and the enemy team. And with a damage orb at the start, so it does extra damage, right? I will mention, let me go back a few fights just to show you like what an opportunity for you to use it here would have been instead of using it like right now. What you could even do sometimes with Moira ult is go at an off like a flank from your team almost. You know, come over here, just pretend this guy's in here. Just do it like right here, right? Imagine, or like, you know, just say you just teleport in here just for the sake of demonstration. You teleport in right here, you Moira ult right now, and you can just like hit your Ryan and their tank with the beam, right? You know, they have to move a bit, right? But that's something you can like consider, right? You don't literally need to be behind your tank. You can be like over here, you know, to the right, to the left. It doesn't really matter as long as you have fade, right? Yeah. So those are opportunities you should be looking for. Okay, I hope this